Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Bound to Sea, a channel about marriage to a woman from the Philippines like I did back in 2015. Please subscribe, leave comments. Check out my book. That will be in there. Also, there's a way to talk to me through Clarity. You can check out there somewhere in the comments and the description. And got lots of playlists, about 1,600 videos. Now, a lot of people want to know about living in the Philippines and what it costs. And so this video is about, can you live in the Philippines on air, sunshine, and your mind? And the reason I suggest that is because over the years, I've seen some videos, usually starts around, can you live in the Philippines on $2,000 a month? Then it's, you'll see $1,500 a month. Is that enough to live in the Philippines? Somebody else will say, well, $1,000 a month. I'm living in the Philippines for $1,000 a month. Then occasionally you'll see $500 a month. Here's how you can live in the Philippines on $500 a month. Just the other day, I saw a video about potentially living there on $350 a month. So I think, if you want to have a real minimalistic way of doing it, why not just try to live on air, sunshine, and your mind? There's plenty of air over there, plenty of sunshine in the Philippines, and we have our minds. And there are some people, I used to read in the National Enquirer magazine when I was a kid, about people that could claim to live on just air or survive on sunshine. Somebody hasn't had any food for 30 years, but they survive on the sunshine with good air. Now, the air is a little bit polluted in much of the Philippines, and it does rain a lot. Now, I know I'm being silly, but how low can you go to live in the Philippines, cost of living? You could have somebody do a GoFundMe. You do a GoFundMe and somebody pay you for that, or you can beg, steal, and borrow. But to get serious here for a minute, I've thought about this too, even though we're not really thinking about doing that right now. I've kind of done most of my homework, and it's just not the time to really do it. But I'll just tell you, for our situation, we have a house over there we would live in, and we've stayed there 2 or 3 different times when we went. So there's no cost there. It's a nice house. My wife and I built that. It's got 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, and we can fit a lot of people in there. And we got our own well there, so there's no water cost. We could probably do it for, $1,200 or $1,300 a month if we wanted to. And we'd be living, pretty good out there. I don't have the numbers here, but the house would just come down to the cable, which sometimes can be not too far off from what it is here in the United States. Cable, electricity, what's that going to run you? $200 a month might be on the high side. Maybe not if you have really, really good cable. And then you got food. I only eat about 10 things anyway. So I would live on rice and fish and chicken, probably. Eggs, of course. So I don't think our food would cost that much. Really, we could, probably sometimes do it for $1,000 a month. Now, if you don't have your own home, you have to factor that cost in there. But I would say just a really kind of wide but workable ballpark figure. Let me know what you think if you've thought through this process or you're doing it right now. I think to live comfortably, $1,500 to $2,000 a month should do it. And some may think, well, that's way, way, way too much. Okay, if it is, then keep in mind medical expenses. That's something that concerns me. And rather than spending $1,000 a month for expat insurance that's not going to cover pre-existing conditions, and I've got more than a few, that you're still going to have a high out-of-pocket and deductible. Well, even if there's no deductible, you're going to have a high out-of-pocket. It's going to cost a lot of money. So what I would advise doing is put aside a certain amount of money, even if it's $500 a month, and just save it for when you really need it. And hope nothing major happens like a heart attack or a stroke. So the more money you can have for that available for when you do need it, and you will, or your wife will eventually, then you want money for that. So, $1,500 to $2,000 in most places should be ample. If you live in Makati, Manila, I suppose that costs more. Cebu, I have no idea. But those places may cost more. There's probably more places to go, more things to do. And you don't want to just go there, I hope, and find a nice secluded place out in the jungle, far from anything else, with a Filipina and not go anywhere, not do anything. So if you're in your retirement years, I would think you'd want to go see as many places in the Philippines as you can. You may want to have a car. My wife insists that if we live in the Philippines, she's having her own car, like she has now. She likes to drive, and there's more freedom to just go wherever you want. So, it's a whole video on that, but we would have a car. We would do that. Probably just sell our cars now and use that money to buy one out there, for example. So you want to travel, even if you could survive there in the Philippines on air and sunshine and your mind, your Filipino wife won't be able to do that, even if you could. And she's going to want to have a improved standard of living. That includes getting out and seeing things and doing things. You might not eat out every day, but if you can afford to, you might as well. If you live in the provincial area, probably going to have her family over a lot. I don't recommend staying as far away from her family as you can, because that's not what she wants. So again, I've got videos on that. Would live close to her family. Our family would live with us if they wanted to, because they're living there now. So again, let me know what you think. I think $1,500 to $2,000. I wouldn't want to be on some minimalistic way of doing it, because then you're just limiting yourself, and you never know what's going to happen with your health and the cost of that. A lot of foreigners I see are building homes. We did that. A lot of people want to. Some people say, you got to be crazy to, it's in your wife's name, it's not in your name. Well, I know that. We've built 3 homes out there. We don't live in any of them. We can stay there, but we want to benefit our Filipino family, and it's a big family, and that's fine with us. We've both shared equally in those 3 projects, and we're happy to do that. But we've got our house paid. Some months we could probably do it for $1,000, but look, there's always something you can spend your money on. So keep that in mind. If all you're going out there with is $500 a month, I wouldn't think you could survive very long on that. I really don't. Or even $1,000. $1,000 and it's just you and nobody else? Okay, that's more doable, really, depending on where you are. But I say ballpark number, that would fit for all but the most expensive places to live in the Philippines, $1,500 to $2,000 a month. You might say, well, I already knew that. Well, that's okay if you did, but main point here was you got to spend money if you want to have a nice lifestyle out there, in my recommendation, with your love beyond the sea.